I never thought betrayal could knock on the same door twice. Once is enough to shatter you. Twice, it tries to erase you completely. 6 months earlier, my world had already burned down in the most humiliating way imaginable. 40 years of marriage reduced to whispers, viral videos, and a scandal that spread faster than wildfire in a dry forest. I was 62 years old, standing in my kitchen in a flour-dusted apron, when the fire department burst through my front door and found my husband Julian glued, literally glued, to my daughter-in-law, Allison. Yes, glued. And no, it wasn't an accident. But that story had already made its rounds. The affair, the betrayal, the plan they'd cooked up to steal my bakery chain from under my feet, the little lubricant swap I orchestrated after discovering everything, the screaming, the sirens, the viral humiliation, the way they both disappeared afterward like cockroaches when the lights flip on. Julian fled to a dingy apartment across town. Allison filed for divorce from my son Daniel and vanished into some run-down motel. The neighborhood buzzed for weeks. People pointed, they whispered, but eventually life moved on. And so did I, or at least I thought I did. Because while my marriage collapsed, my business didn't. If anything, it rose from the ashes. Robert's Bakery wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. 3 locations now, contracts with hotels and boutique cafes. My flan recipe had become something of a legend. Customers didn't just come for pastries, they came for resilience, for the story of the woman who refused to crumble. Daniel moved back home. We healed quietly, slowly, one early morning at a time, kneading dough side by side before sunrise. We didn't talk much about the past. We didn't need to. The rhythm of baking was therapy enough. I thought the storm had passed. I was wrong. It started with an email. Investment opportunity for Robert's Bakery chain. Normally, I delete those without thinking. Spam, scams. But this one was different. The subject line read, "Ready to take your empire national." Empire. That word hooked me. The email was from a woman named Elena Vargas, a venture capitalist from New York, she claimed. She said she'd followed my story, called me inspiring, said women everywhere needed brands built on resilience. She wanted to invest $500,000 to expand statewide. $500,000. At my age, I wasn't dreaming of yachts or private jets. I dreamed of legacy, of handing Daniel something solid, of turning my pain into something permanent. So I replied. We met at an upscale cafe downtown, marble tables, overpriced lattes, the kind of place that smells like ambition and espresso. Elena walked in 10 minutes late, perfectly timed for dramatic effect. Tall, elegant, sharp cheekbones, dark hair pulled into a sleek bun, oversized sunglasses even though we were indoors. She extended her hand. "Juliet Roberts," she said smoothly. "It's an honor." Her voice was silk, controlled, practiced. She complimented my flan, said she'd tried it at the Grand Hotel, threw out numbers like confetti, marketing campaigns, franchising, cookbook deals, brand partnerships. "You're not just a baker," she said, leaning in slightly. "You're a survivor. Women like us need to support each other." Women like us. That phrase stuck. She shared a story about a bad breakup that left her rebuilding from scratch, reinventing herself, rising stronger. I should have questioned why her story felt rehearsed. I didn't. By the end of the meeting, we had a preliminary agreement. She would tour the bakeries, review operations, evaluate scalability. As she stood to leave, she slipped her sunglasses back on. And then it hit me. Her perfume. Sweet, floral, familiar. I'd smelled it before. On Julian's shirts. I pushed the thought away. Trauma does strange things to memory. Smells linger. Paranoia blooms in wounded minds. Allison was gone, broke, humiliated. There was no way. Over the next few weeks, Elena became a fixture. She shadowed me constantly, asked detailed questions about suppliers, ingredient storage, delivery schedules. Too detailed. Daniel was cautious at first. "Mom, just be careful," he said one evening as we locked up. "I am," I assured him. I believed that. Then the complaints started. A major wedding order tasted off. Guests reported stomach aches. I refunded everything immediately. A week later, a hotel called. Mold in their bread delivery. Mold. That word felt like a punch to the chest. Reputation is everything in food. One rumor can bury you. I checked everything: expiration dates, oven temperatures, staff procedures. Nothing was wrong. Elena was sympathetic, helpful, almost too helpful. "It might be your flour supplier," she suggested gently. "Sometimes contamination happens at the source." Convenient. Whispers started circulating. Robert's bakery slipping. Competitors were suddenly advertising aggressively. I felt something shifting beneath my feet. And then, one night, sitting alone in the office reviewing basic security footage, that perfume memory returned, stronger this time, sweet, floral. Allison. My heart began pounding so loudly I could hear it in my ears. No, that's impossible. But impossible had already happened once in my life. I called Thomas, the private investigator who'd uncovered the original affair. "Run a check on Elena Vargas," I said quietly. "Deep check." While waiting, I didn't repeat past mistakes. I installed hidden cameras, real ones this time, smoke detector cams, tiny lenses above storage racks, extra security around supply rooms. I told Daniel they were precautionary. 2 days later, Thomas called. "Juliet," he said grimly, "Elena Vargas doesn't exist. The credentials are stolen from a real investor in New York. The email IP traces back to a motel outside town." My hands went cold. Security footage from that motel shows a woman matching Allison's description. The room tilted. Of course, humiliated, divorced, penniless, reinvented. I checked the hidden cameras that night. There she was, in my supply room, after hours, using a copied key. She opened flour sacks and sprinkled something powdery inside. Her face caught in high definition as she smirked. It wasn't just sabotage, it was revenge. I didn't confront her immediately. I waited, gathered more footage, more proof. I wanted airtight evidence, no second escape. Then I invited her to a strategy meeting. She arrived cheerful, polished, confident. "I have exciting news," she said, sitting across from me in the bakery office. I poured her coffee, calm, controlled. "Elena," I said softly, "you remind me of someone I used to know." She tilted her head. "Oh?" "A young woman who betrayed her family, slept with her father-in-law, tried to steal a business." "That sounds dramatic," she replied. It was. I opened my laptop and pressed play. The screen showed her in the supply room, tampering, smirking. Color drained from her face. "You think you can destroy me twice, Allison?" Silence. Then she lunged for the door. Locked. Remotely. Her mask dropped. "You ruined my life," she screamed. "Julian promised me everything. I was supposed to have the house, the bakeries. I was going to be rich." There it was, the confession. Sirens echoed in the distance. Her eyes widened. "You called the police?" I learned from my mistakes. The officers arrived quickly. Fraud, food tampering, vandalism. She was handcuffed in front of staff and customers. No viral glue this time, just cold steel. I didn't blast her face online. I didn't need to. The story spread on its own. Local news picked it up. Bakery owner foils sabotage. Interviews followed, speaking invitations. Women wrote to me about their own betrayals. Business surged, not because of scandal, because of strength. In court, Allison cried, claimed desperation, claimed I'd ruined her future. The judge didn't sympathize. 6 months in jail, restitution payments, a criminal record that would follow her far longer than humiliation ever did. When our eyes met as she was led away, there was no screaming, no theatrics, just realization. She had tried to destroy me twice, and failed. Daniel stood beside me outside the courthouse. "Mom," he said quietly, "you're unbreakable."
I shook my head. No, I told him. I just stopped underestimating myself. Life returned to rhythm. Ovens humming at dawn, dough rising patiently, customers laughing over coffee, the scent of vanilla and cinnamon filling the air like nothing bad had ever happened. But I had changed. Betrayal doesn't just wound you, it reshapes you. The first time, I reacted emotionally. The second time, I responded strategically. That was the difference. I didn't scream. I didn't explode. I documented. I prepared. I executed. And I won. Not with pettiness, not with chaos, but with proof. Sometimes revenge isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's just refusing to be destroyed. Now, when I tie my apron each morning, I don't see a betrayed wife. I see a woman who built something twice, from ashes, from humiliation,
from sabotage. And if you're watching this, maybe you've been betrayed too. Maybe someone underestimated you, tried to take what you built. Let them. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The second time around, you're smarter, calmer, deadlier. And when you rise again, you don't just survive, you dominate. I never thought betrayal could knock twice, but when it did, I was ready.